How many views does a TikTok need to make the same amount of money as selling one physical album does? Around 1 million. I got roughly $15 from 1 million views on TikTok. Now, to put this into perspective, Michael Jackson's Thriller has sold over 100 million copies. To achieve this legendary cash flow in TikTok views, you would need a light 100 trillion views. Combine that with Spotify paying an average of 4/10 of a penny per stream and touring being less profitable than ever, and you get one of the most insane and stressful times we've ever seen when it comes to being an artist. So what do? I mean, if you can't already tell, I'm a big numbers guy, so I'd say statistically, you quit. But let's back up a bit because I feel like this entire TikTok era happened without anyone even noticing. The way I remember it, the first thing to go was bands. Almost every single band that I used to listen to started struggling numbers-wise. They were releasing albums and I'd find out months later because their posts just didn't make the cut algorithmically. From there, I remember seeing other groups start to struggle, like older artists that release music with minimal promotion. I'm looking at you, surprise album people, and also artists that take big breaks in between their releases. All of these groups feel like they disappeared off the face of the earth these last few years, but from what I can tell, a lot of it's due to them struggling to reach their audiences when they do release music. I think what happened is the definition of being an artist changed rapidly without anyone noticing. The requirements went from being a great musician to being a great musician and a great marketer. And we're starting to see which of our favorite artists do and don't meet the new criteria. We've officially entered the world of having to earn your way onto the feeds of people who have already chosen to follow you. So with this rapid change in artist responsibility came the early adopters. I remember everyone making fun of TikTok when it first came out. And I remember seeing ads for it myself and thinking, wow, there's a group of people out there that are going to lose a lot of money trying to compete with Instagram. Long story short, we were wrong. But there were a small number of upcoming musicians, artists, and content creators that either A, had faith in the app, or B, wanted to make sure they had their bases covered just in case it became relevant. And they taught all of the artists that weren't early adopters a massive lesson. Artists like Ty Verdes and Lil Nas X rode the early stages of the TikTok algorithm. It's my understanding that the algorithm needed a ton of videos to show to the early user base, but with the app being so new, there weren't a ton of creators to pull that content from. So getting your voice heard was a lot easier than it is now. And on the flip side, artists like Bella Poarch curated massive audiences around this time through content unrelated to music, whatever that was, and then leveraged that same audience once they were ready to start releasing. Also, side note, Bella Poarch's music is kind of great. Like, her whole creative team is on point, but back to TikTok. This early adoption phase was also before the "your neighbor got 1 million views" phenomena started occurring. Let me explain what I mean by that. So one of TikTok's strongest selling points is that you probably know someone in your personal life who's gotten over 100,000 views on a TikTok. And if you don't, I am positive you're only 1 degree away. Whether they do it consistently or not is irrelevant. All that matters is that the current state of TikTok makes you feel like if this other person got 1 million views, then you must be able to too. This train of thought has turned tons of would-be viewers into users trying to create content of their own, which has only made it even harder for musicians and artists to cut through the noise. As time went on, we saw newer and newer strategies take center stage. Singing in a car, playing your music blindly for someone else, creating little lyric videos, and so on. But beating a dead horse can only be done for but so long. I'd like to introduce to you an internet theory, the yoink and twist.
At the end of the day, if you are the first to it, you will probably be more successful. If they don't add their own twist, they are capped to what they pulled from. That's just how it works.
Credit to Ludwig, this theory explains that each time an idea is copied without being changed in some small way, it performs worse. And in our case, each time someone discovered a new way of promoting, everyone flocked to it. That would immediately kill its effectiveness and take it from an innovative format to a tired one. Fast forward through this being done over and over, and where have we wound up? Well, it's kinda hard to say, but all I know is that I barely see videos of original music in my feed anymore. I only really have 2 guesses of why this could be. One is that the TikTok algorithm has just outgrown original music content. With so many people fighting for a spot on your timeline, memes and drama might have just outclassed original music when it comes to watch time and engagement. And number 2 is that we just ran out of ideas. We might have just beat the dead horse to the point that everyone's ideas just kind of stagnated. Because when I really think about it, I have no clue how you'd promote your music on TikTok right now without some sort of like shtick or drama involved. The only thing I see work now is extremely infrequently I'll get someone on my feed who was just born with an amazing voice, but I would think that less than 1% of singers are really at that skill level. So at this point you're probably thinking, so no musician ever gets views on TikTok? That seems a bit dramatic, and you'd be right in saying that, which leads me to one of the things that I find strangest about the internet in 2023, the trend of art art commentary. What is art commentary? So art commentary is what I've started calling this new wave of content surrounding music, where people would rather listen to someone analyze, critique, or make jokes about music than actually consume the medium. It might sound out there, but the proof is in the algorithm. If you scroll your way onto the music side of TikTok, the top performing videos that you'll see are always going to be people talking about music or memes. Rarely does someone actually making music circulate, let alone original music. And if you're thinking that's so weird because I'd much rather see original music than someone talking about it, there's like a 95% chance you're wrong. The modern digital age isn't about what you think you want to see. It's about what an algorithm knows will make you stay. Subconsciously, you're not realizing that you're watching that artist TikTok about their song once and taking 8 seconds to leave a nice comment, but you're watching that meme about music twice and scrolling through the comments for 50 seconds reading all the additional jokes. But in the new age of TikTok giving everyone a voice, one group was ready to overcome the odds and bring about a new age of TikTok musicianship. It was mainstream musicians. Yeah, so the incredibly anticlimactic end of the TikTok music saga has just been the big A-list musicians going back to having millions of people watching every time they do literally anything. Example A, Sam Smith danced. 38 million views. Now, do not get me wrong. Sam Smith, unbelievable singer, super talented. The song, extremely well written. However, I have a really hard time believing that someone who isn't Sam Smith can just jam out like this and have it result in 38 million views. The fact that A-list musicians are extremely recognizable and people are already excited about them gives them that extra edge to stay competitive with other types of content. Example B, Charlie Puth and Jungkook beatboxing and hitting a car. 80 million views. Again, both amazing musicians, but this wouldn't have been a big video if it wasn't them doing it. We all care because we were invested in them before we ever even saw the video. In the end, this platform that was supposed to give a voice to smaller artists kind of just wound up turning into another promotion machine for the larger ones. So with the insanity of modern music marketing and TikTok taking over the internet, what are we left to do? I don't know. But if I had to put some sort of positivity out there, I'd say if you're an artist, find other artists. Reach out to other musicians, try new things, and come back to the drawing board so we can all figure it out together. As an artist myself, it sometimes seems like everyone stays super isolated. I don't have the perfect answer when it comes to navigating the weirdness of TikTok, but everyone putting their heads together has to be a good start. And if you're a fan of music, show up in person as much as you can. Concerts, meetups, and other forms of live events are struggling right now. Going back to the beginning of the video, instead of an artist needing to make a million-view TikTok, you can help them the same amount monetarily by buying a $15 concert ticket. And lastly, you can subscribe so you know when I release new music.